Hello and welcome back to the Palaeocast Gaming Network. My name is Dave Marshall and I'm a professional paleontologist and secretly a bit of an Ediacaran fanboy. It's therefore my great pleasure to be reviewing 360-degree Flinders Ranges, which is a title released today by the University of South Australia in collaboration with Framework VR and Heaps Good Productions, and is freely available from the website listed down in the description. It's a VR title, so you're gonna have a VR headset to play. But if improving your gear is out of the range of your budget and you can't have a loan, which is tough, then you're not going to be able to experience this game as intended. But that might all be a mistaken point, since numerous parts of the game are available as 3D images and videos on their website, so you can still enjoy the experience from your computer or mobile device. Now, for those of you who have watched my VR videos before, you know that I see VR as a newfound land of educational opportunity, which I'll bore you to death about. But most VR titles possess very little below the surface. This one is able to immerse you within the geosciences like nothing else I've ever seen before. The structural geology of the area, which is the focus of this first part of the video, is made so clear by overlaying 3D landscapes with their geological interpretations, it really is something special. Now, without doubt, the best way that you can ever experience these rocks and their fossils would be to visit Australia yourself, to see them with your own eyes, or even to invent a time machine. But in lieu of that, I want you to brace yourselves for what will be undoubtedly the best Precambrian game ever done. So here we are in the game now. We acknowledge the country and the cultural knowledge of the Yata land, and we pay respects to their elders past, present and emerging. That's very important.
A long time ago, the sun rose over a vibrant sea in an ancient land. You might not recognize it, but a small piece of every one of us is tied to this place. As time has passed, across millions of years, the land has changed. Again, and again, and again. Welcome to the extraordinary Flinders Ranges. The story of this place is a story of life.
I feel like I'm flying.
Right from its very beginnings. Its rich histories are written in the rocks, and its unique geology has brought people from far and wide. Before there were mountains here, there was an ocean, home to the very first animals on planet Earth. From the shallow sea birthplace of our ancient ancestors to the dry desert outback of today, there are fascinating journeys to explore everywhere. This place is big sky country. Here, the horizon stretches as far as the eye can see. And it tells the story of mountains moving, oceans freezing, and earthquakes rumbling. Despite its wild side, life thrives here in the Flinders. The landscape has been home to people and rich cultures for tens of thousands of years. The Adnyamatna call this country home. Many others have sought their lives and fortunes here. The ruins of abandoned mines tell their stories. Are you ready to take an incredible journey?
Yes.
Let's begin the remarkable story of life in the Flinders Ranges.
First up, how cool is this? It's so immersive. What a cool introduction. I really like it.
G'day there, I'm Dawn. Lucky you taking the shortcut to Rawnsley Bluff. It's a steep climb to one of the best views you'll find. Now that you're here,
really is.
Why don't we have a closer look around? I can show you just how amazing the Flinders Ranges are. I know this landscape like the back of my hand. In my day job as a geologist, I study how these mountains formed and what they can tell us about how life on Earth has evolved. If you're keen, together let's take a look at how scientists understand the Flinders Ranges, so you can see it just like I do. And to do that, we need to take a bird's eye view. So strap yourself in and let's take flight.
Oh, this is cool.
Wow! Look at this view. Rocks and rivers far as the eye can see. You're floating above South Australia's vast outback. All the signposts you can see are places we'll explore as part of this virtual tour. There's a lot to take in. This country might look dry and deserted, but it's been teeming with life for millions of years. Some of the rocks you can see below were even home to our earliest animal ancestors. How do we know this? Geologists and paleontologists can read the landscape almost like pages of a book to see how it has changed and how life has evolved with it. To find out how these stories are discovered, we'll need to take a step back in time. Here's something I prepared earlier. Looks a little different to Earth as we know it, doesn't it? That's because it's actually the supercontinent Rodinia, a time capsule taking us back around 1 billion years ago. This was long before plants and animals lived on land. It was a desolate place. But watch what happens as we move forward in time. Go on, press play, and we'll start our time machine.
Continental drift, there's a destructive plate boundary, the red ones.
Look at the continents dancing across the surface. That's the magic of plate tectonics. As the continents pulled apart and Rodinia started to break up, something amazing happened. For the first time in Earth's history, conditions were just right for animals to evolve. Now that we're skilled time travellers, let's take a closer look at the ground beneath our feet, even if we're hovering. The rocks that make up the incredible Ediacaran amphitheatre are known as sedimentary rocks.
So
as Rodinia slowly began to break up, sand and silt from continents were washed into the newly created ocean and slowly deposited in layers of sediment. As the layers were buried deeper and deeper, they eventually hardened into rock. Let's zoom out and take another look at these layers from afar.
Kind of zipping all over the place.
From this view, you might start to see the rock layers snaking across the landscape in all directions.
Yeah, so you can see
to get an even better look,
here,
let me give you
all the way up
geologist's goggles.
Then there's a little syncline.
Tweak a few settings, and
you saw a different rock type.
Voila! Hit the activate button and you'll be able to see the landscape like a rock star can.
I am a rock star. Now
these coloured ribbons are the sedimentary rocks created by erosion during the breakup of Rodinia. They're no longer horizontal, but tilted on their side. Each colour representing a different package of sediment and a different time that it accumulated in the ocean. See how many layers you can identify.
So, I've got a timescale and different rocks, I'm guessing. Geolayer opacity. Now that is cool. This is how you teach geology. That's unbelievable. I'm in control of a geological map in VR. Like, one of the coolest things you can do is like see the actual layout of the land, all the different topology and topography, and then map that onto the different rock layers. That is so cool that you can just do this in 3D. That's amazing. So some of the features that you can see, one of the things to look for is repeated patterns. So you've got one here where you've got this white and brown, orange, reddy, pink, green, pink, blue, and then on the opposite side, orange, red, green, pinky, deeper pink. So it continues on either side symmetrically. And what you're looking at there is a 3D structure. So in this instance, I'm guessing that that is a fold in the rocks that way. So that would be called an anticline. And that would mean that the rocks in the middle are the oldest and the rocks towards the outside are the youngest. And they used to fold over like that, but then they've since been eroded away. And so you're left with this repeated pattern. And then over here, you have the opposite. So going up the side, you've got orange, pink, green, pinky, pink, white in the middle. And then on the other side, you've got the opposite. And what this is, it looks like it's an anticline. So in this instance, the youngest rocks would be in the middle and the oldest ones are on the outside. And again, that's just been eroded away. So you've got an anticline here going into a syncline there, and it's this buckling of rocks that you get. And you can follow the structures all along off into the distance. That is really flipping cool. So if the oldest ones are in the middle, I would say that that one is the oldest. Oh, who is a good geologist? Someone should give me a job being a geologist. So then the white is the next oldest, which is... Where is the white rock? It's yellow. Maybe that was... Okay, so the white is surrounded by red here? And red over there, maybe that one? Tapley Hill Formation. Then it's the pink one. Sunderland Formation. The geology is amazing. I love geology. Athena Formation. Like this, I mean, it tells us about the different layers of rock. It tells us about the different ages, but it doesn't tell us any more than that. I'm not getting anything other than, you know, like an age and a relative age. Then we are Earthy Brown. Is that one? Burkina Formation. ABC Range Quartzite. Then the pink. Pinky pink pink. Bunyuru. Light green. Wanoka. Light pink. Bonnie, other pink, Rawnsley, lilac, Cambrian sandstone. So yeah, we've gone from the Ediacaran here into the Cambrian. So this is the break between the Proterozoic and the Phanerozoic. So this is classically called like the Precambrian, and there was just like the sudden appearance of fossils between the Ediacaran and the Cambrian. We now know that that's not necessarily a real representation of what was going on biologically, but it's more likely a preservational thing. But before the Cambrian, people couldn't find any fossils, you know, like well into the mid-1900s. So it was thought that anything below here didn't have any life in it, or there weren't fossils, but up this way, yeah, then your complex life suddenly, boom, appeared. Purple. Wait, where's purple one? Alluvial fan. Oh, I got it wrong. What was that one? Recent set. Where's the purple one? Oh.
But how did these layers of sand and silt become the craggy hills we see today? Let's hop in our geo-drone and take a closer look.
I've just explained it to everyone. You should have told me you were going to do that first.
Now we can see Rawnsley Bluff from a different view. Look at those cliffs beneath us.
Yeah, it's kind of vertigo-inducing and also motion sickness-inducing.
Can you see how the layers in the distance curve upwards? Through the process known as mountain building, these rocks were buckled, folded and pushed up above the surface to form great steep, deep valleys.
Yeah, feeling a bit motion sick because I'm flying when I'm just actually stood up in my own bedroom, so...
So despite the rumour, the curved ridges that make up Wilpena Pound weren't caused by a meteorite impact. More on that later. They were shaped by folding to form what we call a syncline.
Syncline?
If you look at the horizon, you can still see the U-shaped curve of the fold in the distance.
So the youngest ones are in the centre, and then the oldest rocks are in the layers
Over
below,
time,
so it gets older.
most of this rock has been
in these
slowly
layers,
eroded
yeah.
away, but the deepest rock still remains, and the scars of folding by great forces within the earth can still be easily seen from the air.
This is such a good field trip. Like, you can see structural geology. Here is structural geology. This is invaluable to a geology student.
Huge folds of the Flinders Ranges. But what about the tiny creatures that are buried in the rocks themselves? How do geologists and paleontologists find small and delicate fossils? It turns out that the ancient fossils that make the Flinders so unique are only found within particular layers of the right age. The most important layer is what geologists call the Rawnsley quartzite. Activate geogoggles.
Geogoggles.
These rocks are over 550 million years old, from a time known as the Ediacaran. By following this special rock layer, paleontologists hope to find evidence of the earliest forms of life that evolved on Earth and lived in the oceans created as Rodinia broke apart.
So there's plenty of outcrop.
Well, I reckon you've started to read the landscape just like a geologist. So let's practice your new skills in one of the most famous locations in the Flinders, where the pages of Earth's history are opened for everyone to see. Stretched out beneath you is Bunyaroo Gorge in the northern Flinders Ranges.
Gorgeous.
The view from up here is pretty special. Check it out. You can see Wilpena Pound and the Razorbacks in the distance. Righto. Notice how there are parallel lines that run up and down the valley, and different colour changes that follow these lines?
Yeah.
These are the boundaries between different layers of sediment that were deposited one on top of the other.
Whoa,
the different colours in the geological map we saw earlier. Thanks to mountain building, the layers are now tilted on their side for us to see.
It feels like we're inside of a
as we walk
fold
up
that's
or down the
going
hills,
that way.
We're actually time travelling. All the layers to the west are older, and all the layers to the east are younger. So we're really looking at a geological time machine. And now you know what to do. Activate geogoggles again!
Yeah, but it would help if I knew which way was which. I mean, I could probably work it out based on the shadows of the trees. There's a good shadow. So the sun's up there somewhere and edit it out so you don't blind yourself, I'm guessing. Or is the sun? No, the sun's up there. So why is the shadow going that way? Oh, whatever. But yeah, it would help to know which direction is which when she's talking about them. Alright, never mind.
Now we can look at the layers in more detail and see how they continue across the landscape. The features of each layer help geologists reconstruct the ancient past, like what the climate was like, and even how deep the ocean was millions of years ago. The more we can discover by looking carefully at the rocks, the better we can understand what life was like for the Ediacaran animals, and all the changes like mountain building that have happened since then. Alrighty then, I reckon we're done here. From the valley to the hills, let's head back to Rawnsley Bluff and return to where our journey today began.
No, this is beautiful, let me stay. This is like living inside a geological map, inside a geological interpretation. It is so...
We've covered a lot of ground.
Amazing.
I've had a rockin' great time showing you around. But the folds, faults and fossils are only part of the story of this special landscape. There is so much more to explore, and even some new friends to join our adventure. Let's head back down the hill and join them in my camper van. I think they might have a few ideas of where our journey could take us next.